we should be getting started very shortly. So we've got our first forerunner in gate this morning. That is Lucas Hoyt-Plank, young New Zealander. And we can see the start list here as our first forerunner pops into view. Kato of Japan, who leads the overall New Zealand Cup standings for the winter so far. Huma Kadam is the first of the Aussies. First of the Austrians is Christoph Meisel. Norway go with a couple of their younger yet exciting competitors, Solberg and Braken. Hungary's flag being flown by Barlint Uri. Then we'll move back to Noenkval. Switzerland are here. Hermann and Kuntz both starting in the top 10. Cam Palmquist with bib 9 will be the first of the Americans. Then Dilling and Seymour. So our first forerunner, Lucas Hoyt-Plank, home and dry, smooth sailing for him. And that can take us to our second page on the start list. Heerden and Leggett, both there for Australia. Yohi Kiyama, also here for Japan. And then Denmark with the giant slalom champion, Christian Borgneis, bib 16, looking to score some slalom points here. And our second forerunner, Trevor Palmquist, now on his way down the Pro-Am. Jumping back to the start list, we've also got Danielson from Norway. Then the first of the New Zealanders on home snow this morning, Bain and Jackson with bib 18 and 19 respectively. Austria go with Lucas Gasser, Switzerland with Fassler. America here, strong team, plenty of numbers. Buzek 22. Her will be the first of the Koreans, bib 23. And Thomas Lane of Estonia for Team Global Racing wears bib 24. He has been one that we've been loving on the World Cup Tour this season with some consistent results across slalom and giant slalom. Onto the second page. Just before we look at that start list again, forerunner C, final forerunner Allegra Smith, just making her way through the course, another New Zealander. Unfortunately, no start today for bib 25, Jeong-woo Shin of Korea. He had a bit of an injury picked up last night, so no race. Arrigoni of Switzerland is there. First of the Germans, Jocelyn Mabayad. He's only 16. He's been absolutely fantastic down in New Zealand so far. And I'll just take you through to the top 30. Lucas Meyer next to the Austrians. Third of the Kiwis at home, Sam Woods. And then the World Junior Championship silver medalist Gustav Wisting skis with bib 30 for Sweden, as Allegra Smith just behind, left of picture, skiing into the finish as our third and final forerunner this morning. And just about on schedule, perfect timing that. Bib number 1, Seigo Kato of Japan, is in the start gate. That is excellent news. Just having news come through. It's unfortunate news. Bib 34, River Radamus of the USA, won't start. So there's another little late update. There's also a DNS for Jasicek, bib 35. So a few racers pulling out late on here. Let's hope it's nothing too serious for them right at the start of the season. But here we go. We are ready for action once again in Coronet Peak, Queenstown, New Zealand, with Seigo Kato in the gate I am your race commentator, Matt Garker, and proud co-host of the Skiing is Believing podcast. We should be underway very, very shortly indeed. Kato, who can wrap up the overall title today. That is depending on the result for the Dane, bib number 16, Christian Borgnes, who Kato finished second to on Saturday in what turned out to be the final GS in the New Zealand Cup from the Peak this winter. Final work being done on the course as Kato moves his way out the start gate. First racer on their way this Monday morning. Beautiful conditions. The sun is out, blue skies. Final bit of slipping just going on as Kato pops into view. He did win on Wednesday in the rearranged New Zealand Cup GS after the postponement in Mount Hutt. Kato looking to be one of the main competitors here in the slalom today and moving through that opening half very smoothly, and there's a good dynamic rhythm and tempo to Kato's slalom skiing here. He is going to come through to lead 44.59, the leading time and the target time. Hugh McAdam now turned 25 last Sunday. The Australian started 7 World Cups, his first 7 World Cups all last season, and got a win this summer in the slalom competition on home snow in Thredbo. Sits third in the New Zealand Cup slalom standings with that home win, and he's looking to hunt down Kato here in the closeout. Got a 38th place finish at the World Championships in Saalbach in February as McAdam comes through for second position. Oh, he's missed it by just 12 hundredths of a second. A nail-biting start to proceedings this morning. First of the Austrians is Christoph Meisel, and he's on his way. His father, Balthasar, father and coach, has put this first run pattern of turns together. Let's see how Christoph gets on, the 25-year-old. Zipping through those turns on the Fischer skis. Got 2 top 5 results in the slaloms from Mount Hutt, which included a second place finish in the opening event there. 44.59, the time to watch as Meisel comes through to the finish and comes through to lead by over 3/4 of a second. His father's course set certainly paying off this morning. It's a great run from Meisel. Next out is the first of the Norwegians, Erik Heistad Solberg, the 22-year-old. Hit the World Cup top 30 a couple of times in his career. Only made 20 World Cup starts. In fact, found 18th position on his very first World Cup start in Kitzbühel last January. 44.83, the new target time that Christoph Meisel of Austria set down. Erik Heistad Solberg is there. 43.49, his time. Faster than Meisel by 0.34 of a second. And we have another chop and change at the top of proceedings here early doors. Now on course on the atomic skis is the 21-year-old Viking, the new world junior champion, took the title in March in Tarvisio, Italy. Braken looking to put Norway 1 and 2 here from the first 5 races in Coronet Peak. See how lively Braken is when it comes for the edge-to-edge slalom skiing. Took the 2024 Europa Cup title. Can he take the lead here from Solberg? No. 0.44 off the pace. Third position provisionally. Norway first and third, split by the Austrian Meisel. Bib 6 and on his way for Hungary is Balint Uri. Just 21 years old. Just missed out on a top 30 finish at last season's World Championships. 31st he finished in Saalbach. Uri starts his 300th FIS career race today. Was another one who's been successful this winter with a Australia-New Zealand Cup win coming in Threadbow last month. Uri in towards the finish now and into 6th position. He's 2.76 seconds back from our current leader, Erik Heistad Solberg of Norway, but his compatriot, Elias Hartvord Kval, is now on his way. He's just 18 years old, but managed 4th and 6th in the 2 New Zealand Cup slaloms from Mount Hutt. Kval also got 2 top 30 finishes in the New Zealand Cup giant slaloms we've had so far here in Coronet Peak. Kval just looking to mix it with his elder compatriots, by no means old, but older than him. And good ski, 4th position, only 6/10 behind Solberg. Kval is right in there. Absolutely in second run contention, just 1600ths behind his other teammate Braken, who sits 3rd. This is starting to close in already. Bib number 8, Luke Herrmann, 25-year-old Swiss racer on the Dina Stars. Managed 6th position in the Threadbow Australia and New Zealand Cup race we had in August. 43.49, still the time that everyone's looking at. 7th for Herrmann, 1.78 off the pace. Certainly in the mix in the second run in that top 15, I would imagine. As we move to Bib 9, the American Camden Palmquist. Started his first couple of World Cups last season. I was actually in attendance and spoke to Cam on his World Cup debut in Levy in November. Very tall, very dynamic slalom ski racer out of one of the Coloradan teams, Team Summit. All 3 of his brothers are. All 3 of the Palmquist brothers, should I say. Just having a slight problem with the live time and the live pictures here, but I can tell you that Cam Palmquist has skied 1.25 seconds off the pace into provisional 7th, and the next racer, Florian Kuntz of Switzerland, is on his way with bib number 10. Let's see if these live footage can catch up now. 24-year-old second of the Swiss starters, the first of the Swiss, Herrmann, sits in 8th position currently. Kuntz just inside the top 15 in the New Zealand Cup slalom standings for the winter. So securing a start between bibs number 8 and 15. He was drawn with number 10 last night. Here comes Kuntz, hot and sharp into the finish. He's gone into 7th position, 1.23 seconds behind our current leader, Erik Heistad Solberg. Next man in the gate, Jacob Dillon, is just being held momentarily. Brief course repair, but number 11, Dilling, should be on his way very soon. 25-year-old actually skis with Team Global Racing, one of the international teams. Those racers that can't quite find their position in the national team, or in certain cases, teams that don't have a national team, the likes of Denmark, Estonia and Lithuania, all in that boat skiing here today. And Jacob Dilling now pushes out the start gate, now on his way, bib 11, on course in Queenstown. 5th position in the National Championship Giant Slalom we had here last Tuesday. And Dilling really looking to find his feet within the new team in his first camp with them in the Southern Hemisphere. Dilling looks clean so far. 43.49, still the target time set by Erik Solberg of Norway. Dilling slightly off the pace, 1.97 seconds in total, is provisional 10th. America on course straight away afterwards with their 26-year-old slalom racer, Jet Seymour. One of the top slalom racers in the USA, actually. probably number 2 behind Ben Ritchie at the minute. Ritchie not here this year, but hit the New Zealand Cup podium a couple of seasons ago. Hit 7th position twice in Threadbow, did Seymour. But DNF in the second run in the National Championships here. Seymour into the lead. Ho-ho! 200ths faster than Solberg. 43.47. The new target time. That is a super ski from Seymour. Bib 13, will it be lucky today for Threadbow's finest, Henry Hearden? His sister Phoebe, 5 years younger, not starting today, unfortunately, in the women's competition, but is one of the top-ranked Aussie slalom skiers, as is Henry on the men's side of things. 8th in the National Championship race here last Tuesday. 4th in Threadbow in the New Zealand race there. And it is provisional 12th for Hearden here. Just over 2 seconds off the pace. It's not a huge margin. Next up, we've got another Aussie, third of the day in the 25-year-old Conor Leggett. Went to the World Championships in February. Scored a 48th position in Saalbach. And is that Leggett there? Just skied out. Oh. So the 25-year-old is our first DNF this morning. That's a real shame for Conor Leggett on neighbouring snow. Started a few Europa Cups. Was looking for his first ever Australia-New Zealand Cup slalom points today, but unfortunately they go begging. So Yohei Koyama next to the Japanese athletes, 27-year-old on the head skis. Great chance for Japan. They brought a strong team to New Zealand, including Koyama. Here he comes. Fast feet through the middle part of the course. Koyama looking sharp here. Watch the clock. Yohei Koyama. DNF. Oh, just missed that at the bottom. We must have done. Bib 15. Third in the National Championship slalom here, but a DNF today. That's 2 in a row. Now Christian Borgnesch, the Dane, is the New Zealand Cup Giant Slalom champion for the second winter down here in a row. And with that success, gets the bib number 16 start for the top quality performances he's shown. Got 3 wins this summer in the New Zealand Cup. Another Team Global Racing representative, 43.47 the time to beat. It is 11th position, 1.83 seconds adrift for Borgnesch in today's slalom. Now, bib 17, Didrik Hegelund Danielsen of Norway, 18-year-old. 11th and 17th in the 2 slaloms from Mount Hutt. Looking to bring that top 15 form here to Coronet Peak. Danielsen looking sharp. 3 Europa Cup starts last season. Sits 17th in the New Zealand Cup rankings for this summer. He has just skied into 10th position. 1.62 seconds back from Seymour. Top 3 as it stands, separated by just 0.36 of a second. Seymour and Solberg, the top 2, separated by just a couple of hundredths. I mean, we'll have another minor hold, quick course repair before our first New Zealander this morning gets on his way, and he'll be on his way very shortly. Bib number 18 is Calder Bain on home snow. (22-year-old from the Wanaka region. It covers Treble, Cone and Cardrona. 2 more of the New Zealand on the South Island, of course. Bain just being held momentarily. He went to the 2022 World Junior Championships in Panorama, British Columbia, Canada. His best result did come in slalom. He finished 48th there. Huge start fields that they have in those World Junior Championships and Senior Championship competitions. Bain doing well in that race to get himself inside the top 50. Bain, who should be with us shortly. And he's on his way now, in fact. Just pushed out. Back underway in Coronet Peak with the first of the Kiwis. Sixteenth in the National Championship Slalom. Wasn't far off the title. The next man in the gate is the New Zealand National Slalom Champion. Bib 19, but for now 18, Calder Bain. Starting his 30th Australia-New Zealand Cup race this morning and his 14th in the slalom. Calder Bain, 5 seconds off the pace, provisional 16th at home for him. Next out, Alec Jackson, Team Hutt, the team he's representing here. 20-year-old, second of the 9 New Zealanders in action in this first run. 53 starters in total for you. One of the 2 Jackson brothers here, Toby, goes with bib 38, and Alec with bib 19, 3 seconds off the pace and into 16th position provisionally. Next man on his way is Austria's Lukas Gasser, 24-year-old in his first competitive ski racing action with his new team, Global Racing. Gasser was disqualified in the second run of the National Championship Slalom we had here last week. And Lukas Gasser into the finish, into 15th, 2.13 seconds behind Jet Seymour, who has come from bib 12 this morning to lead the way. Bib 21 on his way now, Florian Faessler of Switzerland. 2 top 15 results in the National Championship races here, 13th in slalom, 12th in GS. Also 2 top 20 results in the New Zealand Cup Giant Slaloms we had here earlier. Faessler into the finish. No, not quite. DNF. Just made a mistake and got caught in those last couple of turns. Stanley Buzek next of the Americans. Another one out of Team Summit, Colorado. You'll hear that name a few times with the Palmquist brothers here. On the Dina Star skis, Buzek had a great World Junior Championships this year. He's into 14th here. Just over 2 seconds off the pace. Mentioned those great World Junior Championships. He picked up bronze in both of the team events, the team parallel and the team combined, did Buzek. And we'll have another quick course hold, another quick course repair before we head to bib 23 and Do Yun He of Korea. Well, if you're used to watching World Cup ski racing, you'll know you do get a TV timeout usually after bib 22. Not quite what we're getting here. So, course now passed for clearance. Her should be ready to rumble shortly. He's just kicked out the start gate and we're back underway here on the Queenstown Alpine Ski Team YouTube channel. In the first of 2 scheduled men's slaloms, Do Yun He, the 20-year-old. First of 2 Koreans supposed to start, but Shin with bib 25 has given this one a miss today, picked up an injury last night. So her, the sole Korean representative. First run DNF in the National Championship GS here 6 days ago, but won the National Junior Championship race in treble cone in the FIS competition. Do Yun He into the finish, 18th position, just inside 3 seconds of Jet Seymour. Now on his way. Here comes Tuomas Lane, the Estonian, 25 years old, 4 times in the World Cup top 30 in slalom last season. Could he shake up the top 5, even the top 10 here? Lane, edge to edge, nice balance to the ski racing. Tuomas Lane into 6th position, 0.93 off the pace. He can certainly shoot for that second run podium later this morning. Confirmation of the DNS for bib 25 and its unfortunate DNF for bib 26, Luke Nicholas Arrigoni. So the Swiss racer unable to find the finish today. And we'll move straight on 27. Jocelyn of Germany on his 16-year-old on the 11th race that he started at FIS level competition, and he's already hit the top 10 on 3 occasions. 7th in the National Championship slalom here 6 days ago. I've certainly got my eye for the future on this talented young German Jocelyn Mabayed, and he's looking pretty sharp again this morning. This will make you all feel a little bit old. He's only born in 2009. Mabayed here, starting bib 27. It's gone relatively well. 21st position, just over 4.5 seconds behind Seymour. You've got to remember Seymour has been World Cup top 10 in his career, so that is a good run from the 16-year-old. Austrian Lukas Meyer, 17-year-old out of the ski club of Leogang, on his way. 25th on Saturday in the second New Zealand Cup. GS managed 17th in the National Championship slalom last Tuesday, as Lukas Meyer is home and dry, 23rd position for the latest Austrian, 6.26 seconds off the pace. Oh, and that was very short-lived. Sam Woods, next New Zealander, bib 29 with the DNF. So we'll move on swiftly to the 20-year-old Swede, Gustav Wisting. He's the World Junior Championship slalom silver medalist from Tarvisio in March on the Fischer skis. 2nd in the Swedish National Championships in April. This is his first ever start in an Australian or New Zealand Cup race. Did have a World Cup top 20 finish in January. 19th position he managed in Madonna di Campiglio in the famous night slalom from the Italian Dolomites. And Wisting looking fast again here today. 18th position for him from bib 30, 2.28 seconds off the pace. Right in the mix for the second run. Bib 31, Yevin Palmquist, the middle of the 3 Palmquist brothers here. Cam, the eldest, Trevor, the youngest, was one of our forerunners. Second of the forerunners. Yevin on the atomic skis. Managed 5th in the Youth Olympic Slalom of 2024 in Gangwon, South Korea. And that's a DNF for Palmquist. So we won't be seeing 2 of the American brothers in the second run. Cam, his elder brother, currently sits 10th. Now Ryoma Katayama, 21-year-old Japanese racer. First run DNF in the National Championship race. Bib 32. Oh, it's a DNF for him too. Just skied out. That's a real shame. Highest of the Japanese at the moment is Kato in 7th. Now Jack Bowers, 25-year-old. Bit of a late bloomer. That's what he's certainly hoping to be. Scored 11 points in the NORAM Cup competition. That's the Continental Cup equivalent in North America. And Jack Bowers, bib 33 of the USA. think he's a DNF. Oh dear. So as I mentioned earlier, 34 River Radamus of Team USA. Orbit 35, Jedrzej Jasicek. But his brother Michal, also skiing for Poland, is next in the gate from bib 36. And I'm just hearing that bib 32, Ryoma Katayama from Japan, will get a rerun just before our final racer. So he should go between 52, bib 52, Indigo Liu of Canada, and our final racer, bib 53, Andrei Djukarov of Lithuania, because the gate was just out of position for Katayama's run, and that's what's causing the hold up here before Jasicek challenges. And we're now having a hold, obviously, for that course. Katayama did look to be pushed out of position. It was correct. Gate was in the wrong position. So still we wait for the news of bib 36 Michal Jasicek on his way. 31-year-old, as you can see on screen, out of the ski team of Zakopane, the premier ski racing resort in Poland, where they've also produced Mariana Gasianica Daniel, who came here a few years ago, scored a few podiums. So America with Jet Seymour out in front, 200ths ahead of Norway's Solberg, and just 0.36 off the pace is Christoph Meisel flying the Austrian flag. The top 5 are currently separated by just 0.62 of a second, with Norway also occupying 4th and 5th through Braken and Kval. We've just recently seen bib 24 Tuomas Lane of Estonia skiing to 6th, 0.93 off the pace. And to round out the top 10, Kato of Japan, McAdam, the best of the Australians, then Kuntz, the best of the Swiss, with Karl Palmquist, also of the USA, completing the top 10. You're watching live New Zealand Cup slalom action from Coronet Peak, Queenstown, New Zealand. I'm your race commentator, Matt Garker, co-host of the Skiing Believing podcast. Our course is confirmed as clear, and Michal Jasicek with bib number 36 is now on his way. He finished 28th at the World Championship Slalom just in February in Saalbach. Great top result. And with camera 1 operating now. Good work from the team on the ground. Catch Jasicek moving through the midsection now. Turns out to be the only Polish starter, with his elder brother deciding to skip this one this morning. So Michal Jasicek, there he is now, moving through the closing turns. And, he's another DNF. Yeah. So let's move on to Bulgaria. Marko Semedziev. A great chance here for anybody from now on to ski into the top 30 and pick up big Continental Cup points. This is the 20-year-old out of Pamporovo. Scored 3 top 5 finishes in Treble Cone in the fifth slalom of August. And Semedziev into the finish finds 23rd position, just over 5 seconds off the pace from bib 37. Bib 38, Toby Jackson, the younger of the 2 New Zealand Jackson brothers. They're also coached by the course setter Baltazar Meisel. He's been working with the New Zealanders down here this winter as Toby Jackson. Just letting that picture catch up. 22nd position it is for him. 4.16 off the pace. Will be in that second run pretty early on in the second run. Hemi Michael now on course, the 19-year-old New Zealander. Also from the Wanaka region. 4 starts at the Youth Olympics last year in Gangwon. Hemi Michael moving furiously through the closing turns. 26th for him. 5.88 seconds behind Jet Seymour. And America are indeed on their way next with Charles Welch, who's kicked out. 20-year-old, wears bib 40 this morning. Skiing for St. Lawrence University in the state of New York currently. Turns 21 at the end of the month, so a big birthday for him to celebrate, but nothing to celebrate today, unfortunately. DNF for bib 40 Welch. Next for Kiwis, Jesse Mutton on his way. Mutton, 19-year-old. 8 GS points in the New Zealand Cup race. 23rd position. That was in one of the GSs earlier this week. 4.5 seconds off the pace. 23rd position from bib 41 Jesse Mutton is a very solid ski indeed. Now, bib 42, Jule van Steenkist. Oh, we've lost him already. The 18-year-old Belgian has skied out. That's a shame. And bib 43, Lewis urgently held in the start gate as our course goes through its final repairs. Ertl now pushes out. His sister Romy will be racing later. She's in good contention to take some big New Zealand Cup points in the slalom today. But as for Lewis, just 16 years old, his mother Martina was a high-level World Cup ski racer for the German team back in the 2000s. As Lewis at the top of picture there. In towards the finish. Oh, a little late in that latest turn. And 28th position for Ertl, just over 6 seconds back. Can he stay in that top 30 and make the immediate flip for the second run? Kerem Haymana, 21-year-old from Turkey. Got a top 30 finish on Wednesday in the second New Zealand Cup Giant Slalom. Finished in 30th position, which isn't actually valid for New Zealand Cup points. You have to be 25th, I believe, to get in there. As Kerem Haymana also finds the finish 30th provisionally, 7.5 seconds off the pace. And now it is Ryoma Katayama's turn for the rerun. That will be after bib 45, Flynn O'Reilly, also of New Zealand. So Katayama, who the gate was in the wrong place for, gets a second opportunity here before the end of proceedings. But O'Reilly, first and foremost, out of Mount Hutt Ski Club. This is pictures of Katayama because we've lost O'Reilly as another one bites the dust with a DNF. So Katayama here looking sharp, looking to make amends for the mistake in the course earlier on. And he's also a DNF at the second time of asking. He's unable to kind of prove his point there. So next out will be bib 46 for the Czech Republic, and that is Sebastian Tuma. He switched his allegiances from Switzerland to Czechia just this spring. First competitive races with his new national team on the Dina Stars, and he has just made his way onto the course. Tuma has had 8 consecutive DNFs in New Zealand, so it'll certainly feel good for him to find the finish here, and I'm really hoping he can do just that. Looking pretty good through the midsection, as you can see. Not a lot of snow in the surrounding area of Coronet Peak, but there's certainly plenty on the Pro-Am racecourse where we are today, racing slalom, and the hurdle where we've been on giant slalom competition in the last week or so. So from bib 46, can Sebastian Tuma ski into the top 30 in this first run? Yes, he can. Just about 30th position. 7.32 seconds behind, but he's there for the moment. As we move to bib 47, Troy Samuel Chang, flying the Chinese Taipei flag in the men's competition here. His compatriot Wen Yi Li will race in the women's a little later on this morning, representing the Sugar Bowl Ski Team and Academy, where he's been training the last couple of Southern Hemisphere summers. And Troy Samuel Chang into 32nd position, 9.5 seconds down on Seymour. Next up, 48, Hugo Saunders on home snow. 18-year-old skiing as close to home as physically possible. He's with the Queenstown Alpine Ski Team. '42nd FIS career. 19th in the National Championship Slalom was solid. 32nd provisionally today, so he won't be one of the early starters in the second run. 5 to go. First of those 5 is Oscar Chesterman. Just 15 years old, the youngest Kiwi on the national team. Also on home snow here, as he does ski with Quast. 34th for Chesterman, just over 10 seconds off the pace. And there is our next athlete on course in picture, Shi Yang Tang, bib 50. We're here with China. Absolutely brilliant to have China with us in Coronet Peak. He'll be looking to qualify for the 2026 Winter Olympic Games and fly the Chinese flag in Malawi next February. So Shi Yang Tang in the red suit of China into 35th, 14.62 seconds off the pace, but as is usual with other continental and World Cup competition, we will give a chance to everybody to ski the second run. Not just the top 30. This is Roman Orlovsky, bib 51 of New Zealand on home snow. 23rd in the National Championship Slalom here last Tuesday, and he skis into provisional 35th today, 12.6 seconds behind Jet Seymour. As I say, for these guys to be that close to a man who's been in the World Cup top 10. In fact, he's been as high as 7th in a World Cup race. Absolutely fantastic. Bib 52 for Canada is Indigo Liu. He's of the Whistler Mountain Ski Team, WMCS, on screen, as you can see. And the 18-year-old falls to a DNF in the closeout. That's a terrible shame. And he was our penultimate racer in this men's first run. So now our attention turns to the 53rd and final athlete for Lithuania. Andrei Dukarov is on his way too, getting in from the top to the very bottom. Dukarov, the 26-year-old, skis on Volkel skis. Has had top 45 finishes in both World Championship and Olympic slalom competition, but giant slalom is absolutely his preferred discipline. He has scored 4th position twice in the New Zealand Cup giant slalom races we've had here in the last few days. Missing out by 11 hundredths the first time and just 19 hundredths on the second occasion. He's been so close in Coronet Peak. Let's see how close Dukarov can go in slalom. 19th position to be the last man on the course, to skiing to the top 20, just 2.31 seconds behind the first run leader and who turns out to be the first run winner. That is exceptional stuff coming from so late in the field. So well done to Andre. And that is it. First run of the men's competition here wrapped up. Thoroughly enjoyable. And it is tight, close and tense. Ready for more action in the second run. The men's second run scheduled to get off at 11:15 a.m. local time. That is 1:15 a.m. for Central European. And thank you very much for joining us if you are in Europe. Much appreciated. So here is the first run result sheet. Jet Seymour from bib 12 stealing the first run lead from Solberg by just 0.02 of a second, with Christoph Meissel on the score set staying third, only 0.36 of a second, close enough to steal the win from Norway and America. Norway with 3 in the top 5 in the first run. Excellent. The world junior champion Braken sits 4th. Kval is 5th, also of Norway. Thomas Lane was the highest bib number to ski into the top 10 from 24 into 6th. A great ski. Best of the Japanese and first down the hill this morning was Seigo Kato. Second down the hill, McAdam. They make up the top 8. Then Kuntz and Palmquist topping out the top 10. Just 1.27 seconds between first down to 10th is relatively close and hots it up for the second run. Danielson and Herman complete the top 12, 1.8 seconds splitting Seymour and Herman. So the women's race is scheduled to begin in just under 5 minutes. That might be slightly pushed back because I've had no news of forerunners. But let's move to the next page of the results sheet. 13th, Borgnæs, great ski from him and his second discipline in slalom. Dilling and Buzek, both in that top 15 as well for the USA. Heerden wasn't far off for Australia. Look at the variation in nations here in this group alone. Denmark, USA, Australia, Austria, Sweden, Lithuania, Hungary, Korea and New Zealand. Gasser, Wisting, and look at that ski, 53, bib 53 to 19th for Andrei Dukarov of Lithuania this morning. Barlind Uri into the top 20 as well. Then Her, just ahead of the Jackson brothers. And that was the top 22 or so this morning. We're just getting a switch of timing here because our women's competition is due to get started very shortly indeed. First run lead for America and Jet Seymour. Let's see if the Americans can lead the second run from the women's competition. And here is the start list for that. The Americans will kick us off there with established World Cup racer Nina O'Brien. Then Romy Ertl of Germany. Before the race was cancelled yesterday, she had pulled out. Bib 3 is Phoebe Heerden. 19-year-old Australian will go just before her compatriot Sophie Mahon. Then Illyri Smart skis here for Canada, with her father Steve coaching her. Older sister Amelia, maybe a familiar name to World Cup watchers. Victoria Pala, great to see the British name on the start list for me personally with bib 6. Katie Hensian, another massively established name on the list. Lede is the first and only French athlete. Sophia Waldau, the first and only Austrian. Serena Stabler, the first and only Swiss. Then we'll go to the first home racer, Charlotte Wiggins with bib 11, and Arata Wakatsuki, first of the Japanese with 12. A few more Japanese to come on the next page of our start list. And a lot of New Zealanders as well. 33 starters in total on the prom. Alaska's 13. She's skied so well here so far this winter. Then 3 Japanese athletes in a row. Maeda, Ando, and Watanabe have all got World Cup experience under their belts. Then Boyce will be the second for Canada. Rashval, third for America. Lennon and Fullerton both start in the top 20 here. Kelleher and Roberts, as well as Sarchit with the US flag next to them, and Chloe Pratt for New Zealand also ski on home snow this morning with chance to make a real impression. And then the final few, April Bentley, bib 25, Viara McCarthy, the USA, last of the Americans. I mentioned Wen Yu Li when we saw her compatriot Chuang on his way, 27 for Chinese Taipei. Then the New Zealanders coming thick and fast. Watterson, Parr, McKenzie and McCall. Belgium are here in action as well with Louise Luvagi. And we'll finish off with bib 33 of Australia. That is Lara Kelly. Very excited for the first run of this women's slalom. The giant slalom was kind of all about Alice Robinson, but this could be tighter. There's a few different names well in the mix. And our first forerunner, AJ Hurt, another established name on the World Cup circuit, is on her way. 2 American forerunners here. The first 2 are actually both very well-known names. AJ Hurt, the first of those, has hit the World Cup podium in both slalom and giant slalom in her career. Is one of the powerhouses on the World Cup Tech Tour. You've got a fantastic atmosphere on that tech team, particularly O'Brien, Hurt and Bocock, Elizabeth Bocock and Mary Bocock, both on the national team. It will be Elizabeth, who's our second forerunner here this morning. There she is in position at the start, deciding to forerun and not actually race. Would have been nice to see both AJ Hurt and Elizabeth Bocock in racing action here, but of course it's the decision taken by the man who's actually put this first run course together, Jan Spieler, Slovenian born and bred, but here coaching the US women's tech team, new head coach for them. Bocock looking quick. It'd be very interesting to see actually these 4-ring times for both Hurt and Bocock. Certainly be interested. And if you want to see more of these women in action and hear more about them throughout the 2025-26 Olympic season, feel free to join me and my granddad Alan Rake. He's a qualified ski instructor here in the UK. You can hear us on Spotify and YouTube. Our summer series is well underway now, and we are less than 50 days away from the World Cup season opener from Solden in the Tyrol region of Austria. We'll have our season preview with you in just over a month's time. Very excited to kick off the Olympic season. So both Hurt and Bocock, the American forerunners, have found the finish safe and sound. Let's see if Olivia Mahoney, third and final forerunner from New Zealand, can do so too. You'll see one of the differences here between the more and less experienced athletes, as might be visible here with Mahoney, is the upright position they hold through the slalom run. You'll see, you may have just seen Hurt and Bocock both very low and dynamic. getting a more sharper position, but Mahoney is home and dry. All three forerunners into the finish. And bib number 1, Nina O'Brien, out of Burke Mountain Academy, 27-year-old, has got a World Championship gold medal at home. It was from the 2023 team event. Katie Hensian, who wears bib 7 this morning, was also part of that team in Courchevel-Méribel for the Americans on their way to world champion status. Just before O'Brien gets the ball rolling in the women's first run, there is a hold for a quick course repair, maybe one of those 3 forerunners causing a bit of damage, but should be fixed pretty promptly. 10 seconds till Nina O'Brien gets us going. I'm your race commentator here for the Women's New Zealand Cup Slalom first run. Nina O'Brien on course with me, Matt Garker, co-host of the Skiing is Believing podcast. It was a pleasure to have your company throughout the men's first run, with America topping the table through Jet Seymour. And look at the way that Nina O'Brien has flown through this first 20 seconds on the Rossi skis. She was one of the very best in the world in World Cup Giant Slalom skiing last season. And here she's looking to put down the marker in the first run of the New Zealand Cup Slalom. O'Brien looked quick and looked sharp. 42.05 is the time to beat. Romy Ertl on her way. This is a real test for the 18-year-old German. Hasn't really been able to compare herself in the GSs to Alice Robinson, because that's where the dreams are made of. Ertl is working day by day, block by block, to try and get better. That is ultimately her goal. She won the national championship slalom last Tuesday. Look at that verticale set from Spieler. That could be key to the in this race. 42.05, the total. 7/10 off the pace. That is fast and sharp. If you're within 7/10 of Nina O'Brien, you're doing pretty well. And this is a great indicator of just how fast and just how quick Romy Ertl is, and certainly can be. Let's go to Australia. Phoebe Hearden, well on her way. The 19-year-old out of Thredbo is right up there in the New Zealand Cup standings for this season. She sits top of the overall and equal top of the slalom with her compatriot Sophie Mahon. She's next in the start gate, but Phoebe Hearden into the finish, into second position. 1900ths behind O'Brien. Oh, this is going to be a close one. Second Aussie, Sophie Mahon, the 24-year-old. Fourth here in the national champs race last Tuesday. She sits equal top of the New Zealand Cup slalom standings with her compatriot Hearden after the races in Mount Hutt and Thredbo. This is the first New Zealand Cup from Coronet Peak. That was quick from Mahon. She could be good to challenge O'Brien. Let's see if this is going to be a key tell in the New Zealand Cup champion. Fourth position, 1.28. Doesn't leave an awful lot of work to do in the second run. Oh dear. And 10 seconds in, O'Leary Smart of Canada with a DNF. Wow. Her feet were just a little bit too fast. Well, I remember her sister Amelia doing exactly that at the World Championships in February. And O'Leary Smart, who sit fourth in the New Zealand Cup slalom so far this winter, after just a few gates. So next up, bib 6. Personally, I can't wait for this one as a Brit. Victoria Pala, the 24-year-old, was as high as 23rd in the World Championship slalom in February when there were 2 Brits inside the top 25. Her compatriot Reese Bell finished 20th that day. Vicky Pala on her way. Let's see if the Brit can mix it with the World Cuppers here. She started 8 World Cup races herself, all in slalom. Never been able to get herself onto a second run start list. She'll be certainly look to be far down that second run start list today, as in that she's finished well this morning. Second in the national championship slalom to Ertl. She missed the win by just 0.23 of a second last Tuesday. That was clean, edge to edge, so smooth from Pala. 42.05, the target time here, set by Nina O'Brien with the first run of the day. Vicky Pala into fifth, 1.83 off the pace. This is a real marker of just how fast Nina O'Brien was. Her teammate and training partner, Katie Hensian, out of Rollmark Ski Academy, looking to put America 1 and 2 early doors. She was equal first with O'Brien in the second New Zealand Cup slalom from Mount Hutt just a couple of weeks ago. Hensian of a stronger build. She's got a World Cup PB of fourth in the GS from Solden last October. Hensian coming thick and fast into the closeout and into the lead by over half a second. USM 2 on their coach's course set as Hensian leads from O'Brien. This is Violet Lede for France, bib number 8. 16-year-old out of the Club du Sport La Tissière. Lede sits 8th in the overall standings for this winter's New Zealand Cup competitions. Lede with that light touch. Ooh, but then she's taken a fall. I think it was a straddle. Sophia Waldorf of Austria has already been... So second DNF from bib 5 for Smart and 8 for Lede. Let's see if Waldorf can mix it here for Austria. Has got a couple of World Cup starts in slaloms to her name. And I'm looking for Waldorf to be in the mix and in that top 5 at the very least here. 41.49, the new time that Katie Hensian has put down. Waldorf is 6th. 2 seconds exactly off the pace. In ahead of Pala, just behind Mahon. And momentarily, bib number 10 of Switzerland, Serena Stabler, is being held in the start. So Hensian with 0.56 over O'Brien, 3/4 of a second ahead of third place Phoebe Hearden from Australia, as America sit first and second. Ertl lies 4th, 1.26 off the pace, just over half a second off the provisional podium. Mahon in 5th. It's the second of the Waldorf 6th, 7th as we speak. Stabler now on her way out of the ski club of Alton. 17 years old, very young. Sits 10th overall in the New Zealand Cup standings for this summer. Sits 9th in the New Zealand Cup standings for this summer in slalom, earning her bib number 10 last night at the TCM. Stabler starting a 7th New Zealand Cup race here, and it ends badly. DNF for bib number 10, Serena Stabler of Switzerland. Bib number 11, Charlotte Wynne from New Zealand, on her way first of the quiz, looking to do some damage towards the top of the table on home soil. 18-year-old from Wanaka, first of 9 New Zealanders that will be starting this slalom here today. She's 88th ranked in the world on the FIS list in slalom competitions. Sorry, 885th. My mistake. 30th in the 2024 Youth Olympic Slalom in South Korea. 7th in the National Championship Slalom, second highest of the New Zealanders, 8th position for Wiggins. She's 6.87 seconds back. But positionally, right in there for now, looking to move up a couple of spaces with DNFs, etc. in the second run. Arata Wakatsuki first, flying the Japanese flag. A lot of their top skiers do come out of the University of Tokai, as you can see on screen there. 25-year-old was 5th in the National Championship Slalom last Tuesday. That's the last time she raced, in fact. Has skipped the New Zealand Cup GS's races, but looking pretty sharp in the closeout there. She's into 7th position. 2.33 off the pace. 600th faster than Britain's Vicky Pala, and Alaska's Speedy as we catch up with the camera. has already DNF'd. Just helping out the next couple of races with a bit of slipping, making that course as best as possible. And Chizaki Maeda is on her way. They've 14 here. Second of the Japanese. 18 World Cup starts to Maeda's name. A first run DNF in the World Championships. Certainly had the capability that day to ski into 30, like a couple of her compatriots did. Second run DNF in the National Champs last Tuesday was her last race as well, like her compatriot missing out on the New Zealand Cup events. Maeda skis into fourth. 1.06 off the pace. Right in there. Moves ahead of Romy Ertl. And tightens up the top five. Great ski from Chizaki Maeda. Her compatriot, Asa Ando. Where's bib 15? On her way now. 21 World Cup top 30 results in her career. She's been as high as 15th in Semmering in 2020 World Cup PB for Ando. And a DNF there. That's why we just lost picture of her. But another chance for Japan coming immediately now. Erin Watanabe on her way. The 22-year-old, also out of the University of Tokai. Watanabe racing here for the first time since the 13th of March. The Japanese national slalom champion in that race on the 13th of March. 4 World Cup starts, but this is her first in New Zealand Cup. She's into 8th position. 43.51 her time. Just over 2 seconds off the pace. And currently 2 seconds separating first and 7th in this first run. As our attention turned to bib 17, Charlotte Boas, but the Canadian has skied out. Both of the Canadian starters this morning with DNFs. That's a real shame for Smart and Boyce. But now, 18, Mirabel Raquel, USA, on her way. She's had 6 consecutive DNFs. It's her first race since Wednesday, and it is another DNF. Is that Raquel there? No, sorry, that is Boyce. Just getting herself out of the way for Raquel to charge through the midsection. 3 consecutive second-run DNFs in New Zealand, where she's raced in both the national championship races and one of the New Zealand Cup GSs. As Raquel looks to power through the closing turns. Raquel into the finish. 11th position for her. 4.89 seconds off the pace. Ruby Fullerton. Yeah, just getting started. No start today for bib 19. Archie Lennon of Australia, unfortunately. Fullerton there comes into picture. She's looked quick. She's impressed me this summer. Out of St. Arnaud Ski Racing Foundation. Went to the Youth Olympics in 2024. Picked up a couple of top 30 results. She was 4th on Saturday in the most recent New Zealand Cup GS. 3rd highest of the Kiwis that day. The 19-year-old Fullerton looking to pick up the pace in the closeout. 6.31 off the pace into 12th position. Two of the 3 New Zealanders we've had so far sitting 12th and 13th, propping everybody up. Alaska Speedy's 13th. Abby Kelleher can't find the finish. That's the thing you have to say. The New Zealanders have found the finish. They're in the second run. Wherever they may be on the table. This is Esme Roberts now. Let's see if America can get someone in there. She's out of Palisades, Tahoe, California. Roberts with bib 22. 10 FIS career top 10s. It's another DNF. Another one bites the dust on this Jean Spieler course. the American head coach, putting together a course to test these starters to really match them up against some of the very best in the world at Spiel with the US team, and that would read into why Henson and O'Brien are the top two here today. Chloe Pratt now for New Zealand. Can she deal with the verticale? Yes, she can. "16-year-old from Team Hut, only her 10th FIS career start. She's hit the top 10 4 times already. 14th provisionally today, 48.88 her time, 7.39 seconds off the pace into the second run. This is Josie Sarchik now, part of the ladies international team who've got a lot of reps here, and they have done over the last week or so. But she was originally from Sun Valley, Idaho. So Sarchik, bib 24, 7.85 off the pace into the top 15 for now. And now April Bentley out of the Queenstown Alpine Ski Team. Her mother, Julia, is the chairperson here at Quast, and it's a DNF for April today, unfortunately. Confirmation of no start for Madison Vieira McCarthy of the USA, so just ignore that in the bottom right of your screen for now, because coming into picture is Wen Yi Lee of Taiwan. She skied into 50th position at the 2022 Olympic Games in slalom from Beijing. It was a superb performance. And the time you're seeing on screen isn't currently correct. She's at the 42nd marker now, just for reference. The 11th championship slalom last week. She skis into 16th in the first run here, 8.85 seconds off the pace. Bib number 28, Isabella Watterson, now in view. 16-year-old is the new New Zealand slalom champion. I believe she finished 6th last week to take the title. And Isabella Watterson, 13th position, 6.41 off the pace. From bib 8, bib number, into the top 15 quite comfortably. Good ski. Now Zoe Parr, next of the Kiwis, out of Ruapehu. 9th in the National Championship Slalom a week ago, and 4th in the New Zealand Cup Slalom from Threadbow, where the Aussies were on fire with Mahon and Hearden taking big points. They could both do again today. Zoe Parr, though, bib 29 into 18th, just over 9.5 behind Katie Henson at the top of the table. Now we've got Paloma McKenzie, the 16-year-old, bib 30 from the Wanaka area. Corrects a little bit of a mistake there as McKenzie stays within the course. Good steer. Carrying a lot of speed. Good momentum from Paloma McKenzie. 11th, 5th start. She was in the top 10 in 10th position in the National Championships. And McKenzie into 19th, 11 seconds behind our current leader. Jess McCaw, another one racing on her home track here at Queenstown. Bib 31, just a couple more to come after her there. Luvagi and Kelly to close out the first runs here this morning. It's been a beautiful day for it. It's been my pleasure to run you through it in the bright sunshine of New Zealanders. Jessica McCaw, home and dry, 20th position. Just inside 12.5 seconds of Katie Henson. Louise Luvagi of Belgium is in the start gate, but not quite yet on course. And that gives me the opportunity to say a massive thank you to the team on the ground, sweeping up the course, all the coaches, of course, all the athletes putting on this great spectacle, as well as the team behind the camera operators and up in the director's box, organising things and for everybody watching. Huge thank you has to go out to them, of course. All these connected parts of the broadcast of the race coming together as Luis Livaggi pushes out the 18-year-old, was 12th in the National Championship Slalom a week ago. She's another one with the ladies' international team. Pretty newly founded. The ladies' international, a lot of their members in New Zealand are new members for the 2025-26 season. Livaggi had a big morale-boosting performance, 9th position on Saturday in the final New Zealand Cup Giant Slalom, as it turned out with yesterday's cancellation. Quite contrasting conditions today. Blue skies, bluebird day in Coronet Peak for ski racing. Livaggi, who had taken nearly 550 days away from racing with a huge injury picked up in January 24. She's into the finish. She's into here today within 9.5 seconds of one of the big World Cup names in Katie Hensian. Now we've got the 33rd and final racer just pushing out the start gate. It's Australia's Lara Kelly on her way. 16-year-old starting just her 12th FIS career race today. She was 10th on Tuesday in the National Championship GS and 10th just on Saturday of 2 New Zealand slaloms on the hurdle. This is called the Pro-Am race course. First run course set put together by Jan Spieler, 2 of his US World Cup Tech Team racers, Katie Hensian and Nina O'Brien leading the way, separated by just over half a second, and they will be the 2 at the top of the table heading into run 2 as Kelly goes 20th, just about within 10 seconds of Hensian, the first run leader. 41.49, her time that nobody could beat, coming from bib 7, little later in the top field in the draw. Just over half a second off the pace, Nina O'Brien, with a bit of catching up to do on her teammate, but she'll sure give it a crack in the second run this afternoon. 3/4 of a second back. The best of the Southern Hemisphere races for Australia is Phoebe Hearden. Chizaki Maeda produced an excellent ski from bib 14 into 4th. Romy Ertl in the mix in New Zealand again. 5th position for her. Mahon, Austria. Waldorf of Austria. Watanabe with a good ski, bib 16 into 8th. Wakatsuki 2 of Japan. Vicky Palla wraps up the top 10 for Great Britain. She's 2.39 seconds back from Hensian, and top 10 quite tightly compacted. Could make it very interesting this afternoon. 11th for Rakhval of America. Fullerton, the best of the New Zealanders in this first run. She came from bib 20 into the top 12. And that is how the top of things line up. As for the rest of the finishers, Watterson, Wiggins and Pratt complete the top 15, all 3 of them for the Kiwis. Sarchit also will be back later for America, as will Wen Yi Lee. Great to see Taipei and Belgium here with Louise Livaggi. New Zealand with Park. Kelly just skied into 20th for Australia. You see the margins to Hensian starting to open up as we get further. Mackenzie and McCaw, another 2 of the New Zealanders, the last 2 in this first run. 22 made the finish from the 33 original started, but we had a couple of DNSs in there as well, and we'll show you those in just a moment. The 2 earlier DNS were Smart and Ledette of Canada and France, respectively. There are some more DNS if we get a chance to go to this final page. Fortunately, quite a few DNFs. Stabler, Speedy, Ando, Boyce, Lennon, Kelleher, Roberts and Bentley, unfortunately, unable to find the finish. And then that DNS I mentioned for Madison, Vieira, McCarthy, meaning that there will just be 22 coming back later for a second run. But well done to those 22. Thoroughly entertaining with the men go first this morning in the New Zealand Cup Slalom. And then the women will be pushing back the programme by about 15 minutes to do a little bit of coursework. So the men's second run will get underway from 11:30 a.m. local time. All being well, course being well, conditions and weather staying fine. We will be with you or back with you just after 11 in the morning local. Men will go at 11:30 and the women around 12:15 as confirmed on screen there by our fantastic team behind the scenes. So thank you very much for your company this morning. Hopefully see you a little bit later on for the second run. It's very tight, very tense, and should be very exciting. I've been Matt Garker. Thank you very much for your company and see you a little bit later on. But for now, everybody, see you later. Goodbye. Hello and welcome back to Coronet Peak, Queenstown, New Zealand. I am your race commentator, Matt Garker, co-host of the Skiing is Believing podcast, ready to run you through Run 2. The men went first this morning and it is nice and tight at the top of the table with Jet Seymour of the USA out in front. They went first this morning and will get the second run underway in just less than 10 minutes' time. And the women's race will come just after 12:15 p.m. local time in New Zealand. Here are the first few starters then in the second run. The young Austrian Lucas Meyer will get the ball rolling. Then the even younger German Louis Ertl. New Zealand is here on the first page. Michael and Bain will be the first couple. Then Semedziev, good to see him in there in the second run for Bulgaria. Mobayed continuing his impressive displays in New Zealand in the top 25 this morning. Then the New Zealanders on home snow coming thick and fast. Jesse Mutton. Then the Jackson brothers, Toby and Alec. The Korean flying the flag in the second run will be Her. He finished 21st this morning. Balint Uri is here for Hungary, as is Andrei Dukarov of Lithuania and of Team Global Racing. This second run, by the way, set by Jeffrey Fritz, one of the American coaches. Flicking through to that next page, a great ski this morning from Gustav Wisting from bib 30 into 18th position. Lucas Gasser will be the next of the Austrians. Henry Heerden, the first of the Australians. And the Americans, Buzek and Dilling. Both Dilling and Borgneit in the middle of the pack there. Skiing for Team Global Racing now. Luke Herman for Switzerland. Danielson of Norway. Then Cam Palmquist. He was 10th after the first run. Kuntz, also of Switzerland. McAdam and Cato skiing early doors this morning and both skiing into the top 8. And we'll bring up that next page with the top 7 from the first run and everybody getting their opportunity here. So we will then continue afterwards. Good stuff from Thomas Lane to skiing to 6th for Estonia. Then the Norwegians, Kval and Braken, just missing out on the first run podium positions. Christoph Meisel has got 0.36 of a second to make up from the first run. Solberg has just got 0.02 of a second. He was only 200 slower than Jet Seymour, who came from bib 12 to lead in run 1 for the USA. We will have a total of 37 second run starters, so the 7 racers that were outside the top 30 in the first run also getting a chance to ski in the second. They are Sebastian Tuma, Kerem Haimana, Hugo Saunders, Troy Samuel Chang, Oscar Chesterman, Roman Orlovsky, a good few New Zealanders in here as well, and finally Shi Yang Tang of China. Great to see China in the mix here. Great to see a really great blend of nationalities all in action. Likes of China, Lithuania, Estonia, Denmark. Of course, a lot of Aussies, a lot of New Zealanders, Americans here in full force too. Austrians sending some of their younger racers. As well as the Swiss. So foreigners will be on their way shortly. We should be around 5 minutes away from the start of proceedings in this second run. And it is Jet Seymour with that lead, the 26-year-old from Steamboat Springs. California. And of course, the bigger picture here is the New Zealand Cup standings, the Continental Cup success, which, should you win that, you confirm yourself a World Cup start. And I can confirm that our first forerunner, Lucas Hoyt-Planck, is in the start. And as you can see in the top left-hand corner of your screen, on course. So Kato it is that leads the overall standings. He's just 35 points ahead of Christian Bogneis and Louis Molenschulter, but Molenschulter, the Australian, deciding not to race here in Coronet Peak. Hugh McAdam is also there. He's in action today from 5th in the standings, but not enough races left for him to catch Kato. So this is Lucas Hoyt-Planck on course, first forerunner, one of the young New Zealanders given their chance at forerunning. I remember seeing Toby Jackson, the younger of the two Jackson brothers, forerunning last season, and here he is now competing. So it is part of that chain, isn't it? You have to go through the forerunning process when you're a little younger. We may well see both Lucas Hoyt-Planck, forerunner A, and Allegra Smith, forerunner C, in action here in the coming seasons, as the first forerunner is home and dry. In terms of the overall standings for the New Zealand Cup, Kato with the lead, as I say. In the slalom, though, Molenschulter with the 180 points he picked up across the races in Mount Hutt and Thredbo has built up a 35-point lead over Seigo Kato, but of course Kato sits down in 7th after the first run. McAdam, 3rd in the overall standings, 40 points behind. Molenschulter is 8th after the first run. Second position from the first run, though, Eric Solberg is 4th in the overall standings, with Meisel 3rd from the first run in 5th. Braken, Early, Uri, Kval are all there as well. Jet Seymour sits 10th, who leads the first run. And over the 2 races here in the next couple of days, he is still within contention and still has a chance to take the title, to take the slalom title. So here's another one of our forerunners moving through the gears towards the midsection now. As you can see, there are 2 courses set here. So the men are on skiers right, women on skiers left. So over the left-hand side of your screen as we're looking at it. And that is all 3 forerunners home and dry. That was Allegra Smith coming into the finish that we just caught there. So all good news indeed. And 30th position for the first run, Lucas Meyer, 17-year-old Austrian, should be on his way pronto. Coursework is just going through the final adjustments then. I'm Matt Garker, your race commentator here from Coronet Peak, Queenstown, New Zealand. It is the second run of the men's New Zealand Cup slalom, slalom 1 of 2, scheduled for the next couple of days. 30th position, Lucas Meyer, getting us down to business. Out of the ski club of Leogang, sits 35th in the Australia-New Zealand Cup slalom rankings for 2025. Looking to pick up a few more points here and at least momentarily take the lead. So Maya moving through the gears, moving smoothly, finding the accelerator in the finish. Very nice indeed. That was a good closeout. Louis Ertl on his way. Ertl into second. So Meyer holds on to that early lead. Hemi Michael just being held momentarily as we go through course repair. So Meyer leading here. Early doors. Leading from Louis Ertl. His brother. His sister, will look to be climbing onto another New Zealand Cup podium a little later on. Michael doing well from bib 39 to ski into 28th position this morning. Comes from Wanaka. And Hemi Michael on his way. We had the message of course clearance come through, and that is obviously correct with Michael. Looking to turn up the gas a bit. As I say, Michael did excellently at the World Youth Olympics. 13th in the Super G, 22nd in the GS in Gangwon last year. Michael is into the lead. 1:37.59. The new combined total time to beat. And that is exactly what Michael's compatriot Calder Bain is looking to do here. He was 5.22 seconds behind Jet Seymour in the first run this morning. Just in New Zealand go to the top of the table with Hemi Michael. Can Bain take his spot? You bet he can. 1:37.1. The new time to beat. Half a second faster. And leadership chopping and changing early doors in the second run here. Marko Semadziev was 700ths faster than Calder Bain this morning. The young Bulgarian, 20 years old, 26th position in leg one. Here he skis in leg two, 1:37.1. The combined target time set down by Calder Bain. Semadziev is there and there by over a second and a half. Whoa. It's impressive. Now Jocelyn Mabayed, who was some 6100ths faster than Semadziev, the new leader this morning. Oh no, Mabayed skis out. I'm gutted for the 16-year-old German. Bib 41, Jesse Mutton is on his way. 19-year-old from Wanaka. Picked up 8 New Zealand Cup giant slalom points earlier in the week. He was 0.65 of a second faster than Semadziev in the first run. Few New Zealanders in a row coming now. Even after Mutton, you've got the Jackson brothers. The next 2 out of the start gate. And Jesse Mutton is looking to take Semedziev's lead here. And he's got it by 0.73 of a second. That's a good run and a good time put down by Jesse Mutton. Toby Jackson now. He was 0.34 of a second faster than his compatriot Mutton this morning. Came from bib 38, skied into 23rd position with a very respectable run. Out of Team Hut, just 18 years old. His older brother Toby will be next in the gate, but Alec Jackson home and into the finish. And into the lead, should I say, 0.32 of a second faster than Mutton. And there will just be a moment for the course to be quickly repaired between the Jackson brothers as Alec of Team Hut is in the gate. So many times that these two will have skied together. Just under 2 years separating Toby and Alec Jackson in age. Great for them to be starting consecutively in the home New Zealand Cup slalom here. Alec might have been slightly disappointed. He had a good start position with bib number 19 earlier in the day. Only managed 22nd position. Alec Jackson has now kicked out, course clear, ready to rumble again. He was 1.12 seconds faster than his brother, despite only being a place higher this morning. Of course, it is still this morning. Coming up to 20 to 12 this Monday morning in Coronet Peak, Queenstown. The weather has certainly played into our hands today. An absolute bluebird day. Beautiful. Let's go as far as to say as pristine ski racing conditions, which is not what we had yesterday to force the cancellation of the giant slalom. But focus here on Alec Jackson. The question really, how much can he beat his brother Toby by? And the answer is by 1.66 seconds. That is a commanding lead for the older Jackson brother. Will just be another course hold before Do Yun He can challenge. Course now clear, so the Korean should be on his way and is out of the start gate 11 hundredths faster than Toby Jackson in run one. 20-year-old is a first run DNF last week on this course in the National Championship Slalom event, so maybe just looking to find the finish and pick up some Continental Cup points in the process. He was 21st fastest this morning, goes 10th in this second run. He did win the National Junior Championship FIS race held in Treble Cone, another of New Zealand's finest resorts, early in August. Her here, looking for the new leading time, 1:32.83 of Toby Jackson. Her is there, 0.47 of a second. The lead for South Korea and Do Yun He. Now let's move to Hungary. Balint Uri, 1500s faster than her. The lead carried over from run one. 6 World Championship starts to his name. He managed 31st in Saalbach in the slalom. Just missing out on the top 30. In fact, it was his compatriot Richie Lightgeb, the other Hungarian racer, who was 30th that day. 1:32.36. The new combined total time to beat. Is Uri fast enough? Oh yes, 0.36 to lead. 1 minute and 32 seconds exactly, the new leading mark. This is Andrei Djukarov. Lithuanian skis for Team Global Racing. Superb first run, coming from bib 53 into 19th position. Incredible. 26-year-old. Scored 2 fourth-place finishes in the New Zealand Cup Giant Slams, but here in his secondary discipline, he's still looking for big points. 1 minute 32 seconds to give Djukarov and Lithuania the advantage. Oh, by 1.74 seconds, Djukarov opens up a huge advantage in this second run, showing that World Championship and Olympic slalom experience. There will be a minor course hold to follow our new leader, and a commanding lead it is for Djukarov. Next man in the gate will be Sweden's young talent Gustav Wisting. Before that, course needs another quick repair. Our team on the ground, very quick to get over there and sweep away any snow that has been pushed into the course. So as it stands, Djukarov leading Uri and leading her. 2.1 seconds currently splitting the provisional top three. Just got the message that the course is clear, so Wisting will be on his way in a short moment. The 20-year-old Swede was the World Junior Slalom silver medalist at the championships held in Tarvisio at the start of March. Wisting has kicked out the start gate. He only went 300ths faster than Dukarov this morning, but did so well to come from bib 30 into 18th. Wisting was second in the Swedish National Championships in April and has hit the World Cup points before. 19th in Madonna di Campiglio in January was a huge result for his first World Cup point score. This is a Australia-New Zealand Cup debut for Gustav Wisting. 1:30.26, Dukarov's time that he's just put down. Wisting has missed by just over a second. Second position for Sweden and Wisting provisionally. That tells you just how quick Andre's run was. And before Lucas Gasser gets his chance to challenge and his chance to lead, the Austrian is the newest member of Paul Epstein's Team Global Racing. 24-year-old. There's another course hold. A lot of this going on. So Lithuania still out in front ahead of Sweden, Hungary, Korea and New Zealand. What a great variety in the current top five. Lucas Gasser from one of the much larger ski racing nations in Austria will be next, and in fact he has now started. 1800ths quicker than Dukarov this morning. Gasser from bib 20 skied into 17th. He was only 2.13 seconds behind Seymour. That tells you just how close it was this morning. These margins were pretty tight indeed, so if you can put down a second run charge here, like we may have seen already from Dukarov, it could mean a huge leap in places in run 2. Gasser was 10th in the national championships last week, 1:30.49 his time, 2.23 of a second slower than Dukarov. Another course hold almost in between every athlete now, the course being cleared and swept and made that bit better for the next racer, but Henry Heerden out of Threadbow is now on his way. Heerden not quite in contention in the overall standings, but he does sit third for the slalom. He picked up Europa Cup points last season, did the 25-year-old Australian. Sorry, I'm looking at his compatriot Hugh McAdam there. My apologies. The 24-year-old from Threadbow went to the World Championships in February. DNF in the first run, unfortunately. 1:30.26, Dukarov's leading time that Heerden's hunting here. He's missed it by 0.79. That is provisional fourth for the Aussie. Let's come now to Stanley Buzik. 15th from the first run, 0.2 faster than Dukarov. You see these margins starting to open up ever so slightly now. Still not huge leads, though, over our current Lithuanian leader. Buzik out of Team Summit Colorado on the Dina Star skis here today. A double World Junior Championship team event bronze medalist in Tarvisio in March. Has he got enough in the tank? No, 0.78 off the pace. Buzik into provisional fourth now. Dukarov has seen off 5 at the top of the table. Jacob Dilling skied with the University of Colorado for a very long time, but now Paul Epstein has picked him up to Team Global Racing. We will have another minor course hold when Dilling is home and dry, but let's see. 1:30 20.26, the time that everybody's targeting, but Dilling has skied out. Oh dear. He's not had a great time of it down here. DNF in the first run in the final New Zealand Cup GS on Saturday. Second run DNF in the National Championship Slalom last week. And he does so in the second run again here today. So the problem is here, it's nothing to do with the weather. And in fact, it's not really anything to do with the conditions why we're getting so many course holds. It's the fact that the slalom gates kind of keep popping out of their sockets, if that makes sense. That obviously when the course setters do their work, they have to drill holes in the snow to put the gates into position. And they are coming out, as you can see here. Lots of replacement gates are required. See all the team in those red ski jackets. And that's very quickly fixed up. So next up will be Christian Borgnice. Next of the challengers. Next of the Team Global Racing representatives. Always love to give those a shout out because the work that Paul has put into creating this team is absolutely magnificent. Borgnice, who has been successful here and across the New Zealand Cup this winter, is on his way. He took the Giant Slalom title for the New Zealand Cup this year, as he did last year on Saturday. He's just short of half a second faster than his Team Global teammate, Andrei Jurkarov, as Denmark and Lithuania look to take the top two spots here in Coronet Peak. 29-year-old has got 3 New Zealand Cup wins, all in giant slalom competition this winter. Borgnice looking good. The whip on those turns, absolutely brilliant for the giant slalom specialist. Denmark on the money here. 6th position. Oh dear. 1.55 off the pace. The way that Borgnice was skiing there, I thought he'd be closer, to be honest with you. Now we go to Luke Herrmann. 12th position from the first run for the 25-year-old Swiss racer. Switzerland establishing such a terrific World Cup team. There's a mistake and there's the straddle from Herrmann. That's unfortunately another DNF. Herrmann skis out, but Didrik Hegeland Danielsen of Norway is on his way. Now the margins start to open up slightly to Djurkarov. 0.69 of a second, the lead that Danielsen carries over from this morning's first leg. The 18-year-old scored 2 top 20 results in the New Zealand Cup Slams from Mount Hutt, New Zealand. And here, he's looking for another big result. To tell you the truth, he is looking for the lead. He's looking to ski, at the very worst, into 11th here. Could well be a top 10 by the end of the day for Danielsen. 1:30.26, still the target. And Danielsen's missed it too. Danielsen has skied out. Now Cam Palmquist just coming into view. Made a couple of World Cup starts, his first couple of World Cup starts last winter. Here, Djurkarov is looking to see off his 8th challenger at the top of the table as we head into the top 10 from the first run this morning. Has Cam Palmquist, with that World Cup experience, good enough to take it here? Palmquist has missed it too! Oh, wow. 1,500 away from leadership here. Palmquist ran Djurkarov for his money, but it wasn't quite enough. Another minor course hold. Next in the gate will be Switzerland's Florian Kuntz. He was 9th fastest this morning and only a second and a quarter slower than the first run leader, Jet Seymour, who will be 30th to ski in this second run, and he'll be skiing within the next 10 minutes or so. Kuntz on his way. He was over a second faster than Djurkarov in this morning, and if he doesn't take it, Djurkarov will have seen off a 10th second run challenger. and will still be our race leader. It's incredible, this. He's come from bib 53 and is looking at a top 10 finish. Can Coots deny him of further leadership? 2 top 12s in the New Zealand Cup slaloms from Mount Hutt. Comes into it with a little bit of form. He sits 15th in the New Zealand Cup slalom rankings. Just a reminder, 1:30.26, the time that Kuntz is aiming for here. Florian Kuntz is there by just 900ths of a second. He did nearly lose a whole second on Djukarov, but Switzerland go to the top of the table with 9 to ski, and Djukarov is pushed out of it finally. Just 100th faster than Kuntz this morning was Hugh McAdam of Australia. He turned 25 last Sunday, was in the Europa Cup points this season, and started his first World Cup races. Started 7 slaloms in total. The new time to beat is 1:30.17, just been put down by Switzerland's Florian Kuntz. Here comes Hugh McAdam, hot and hard into the finish, into second. Oh, wow. 600ths off the pace as Switzerland hold the lead for now. Next up is Seigo Kato. We're getting towards the nitty-gritty in this New Zealand Cup slalom. Kato leads the overall, and with a good run here, can take the lead in the slalom standings from Mullen Sculptor of Australia. Not in action this week. Kato was 1300ths faster than Kuntz in the first leg. Bib 27. Second to Bognice on Saturday in the GS. Won on Wednesday in the first GS. Seigo Kato, 1:30.17, the target time. Japan have missed it. It's 4th provisionally for Kato. 0.31 off the pace. It's so tight at the minute. Can Tuomas Lane of Estonia, and more importantly of Team Global Racing, open up a lead here? The 25-year-old hit the top 30 in World Cup slaloms 4 different occasions and had a personal best of 22nd in Val d'Isère last December. 1:30.17. Kuntz's time. He set at the target. Tuomas Lane leads. 0.6 of a second. Just the kind of run he was looking for. With 5 to ski. Another change in leadership. Now, here we go. Top 5. Elias Hartford Kval of Norway. 0.31 faster than Lane this morning. Just 18 years old. 4th and 6th in Mount Hutt. Looking for a first big New Zealand Cup result here in Coronet. Oh, 400ths off the pace. Kval misses it. And Braken has already DNF'd. He skied out there, hasn't he? The World Junior Champion is out of contention. 3 to ski, that's it. 3 to ski in Coronet Peak. Oh, it's hotting up. Christoph Meisel on his way. His father set the first run. He's got just over a second over Tuomas Lane. If Meisel leads here, Austria will be on the podium. He skis with another one of the global racing teams in World Racing Academy. They've got a great setup there as well, collecting together a lot of Continental Cup success, trying to translate that to the World Cup team, just like Global have done. The 25-year-old on the Fishers, leading time of Lane stands at 1:29.57. 1:29.57. What Meisel's aiming for. 2 top 5s in Mount Hutt. Can he bring the form to the Coronet Peak New Zealand Cup slaloms? Meisel misses it too. 1400ths off the pace. That confirms Tuomas Lane on the podium today. Team Global are there. 2 to go. First is Solberg. Last of the Norwegians. Carries 9.91 of a second over Lane from the first run. The Vikings will look to charge here. Solberg trying to pile the pressure on the first run leader, Jet Seymour. 1:29.57. Solberg won the national championship slalom a week ago. Has he got the lead in the New Zealand Cup slalom? Solberg is there. 0.35, the lead for Norway with 1 to ski. It'll be a top 2 finish for Solberg, but can Jet Seymour ski into top position? 200ths faster than the Norwegian this morning. It was so dynamic, clean, and error-free. It's got to be exactly that if he is to go faster than Solberg. 1:29.22, the time to beat for Jet Seymour to get a New Zealand Cup win to start the season. Jet Seymour wins it by 0.26 of a second. The Americans get the victory. Jet Seymour wanting to ski more this summer and wanting to win more. That's exactly what he's done here today. Excellent result for Team USA. 1:28.96 the winning time. Solberg second, Lane third. Tuma coming through for the Czech Republic. He skied into 26th position, just over 14 seconds off the pace. Let's see if he can hold on to that top 30 spot. That would be excellent. Kerem Haimana on his way. He was just over 7.5 seconds slower than Seymour this morning. The American who used all of that first run lead, all of those 200ths, to win by 0.26 of a second with a combined total time of 1:28.96. Now Haimana looking to be one of the Turkish representatives at February's Winter Olympic Games where the men will ski in Bormio. Haimana looking to pick up speed through the finish. He goes into 26th position. Oh, he's moved up. Ahead of Tuma, 13.7 seconds behind. Now Hugo Saunders looking to get New Zealand into that top 30, or another New Zealander into that top 30 today. The highest they've currently got is Alec Jackson in 18th. Brother Toby sits 19th. Saunders, the 18-year-old from the Queenstown Alpine Ski Team on home snow, goes into 26th. Moves ahead of Haimana and Tuma, but he was slower than in the first run. It's a good ski from Hugo. Good to see New Zealand mixing it with a couple of guys in there. Troy Samuel Chuang will be next. 20-year-old from Chinese Taipei. Skiing here for the Sugar Bowl Ski Team and Academy, as you can see on screen. Came from bib 47 into 34th this morning. There'll just be a course hold here. And the course is clear once again. So ready to rumble with Troy Samuel Chuang. 20-year-old, 24th in the National Championship Slalom. Last Tuesday, he was just over 9.5 seconds off Seymour's first run pace. If he skis to the bottom of the pile here, it will be provisional 29, so it could be nip and tuck to see whether Chuang will end the day in the top 30. Sure, that was maybe one of his focuses. Good Continental Cup points up for grabs here. Chuang, is that a DNF? I'll wait for confirmation of that, but I think so for bib 47. So Oscar Chesterman, the 15-year-old, one of two 15-year-old Kiwis on the national team currently. Roman Orlovsky, he'll be with us in just a moment. Next in the start gate, actually. Chesterman was 10 seconds behind Seymour this morning. And another one aiming for that top 30. 24th in the National Championship GS. 32nd on Saturday in the New Zealand Cup GS. Oscar Chesterman home and dry into 29th. So he is there provisionally. 17.55 seconds off the pace. Roman Orlovsky, the penultimate starter today, is on his way. He was 12.6 seconds behind Seymour in run 1. You've got to think for these guys, these young New Zealanders, potentially the future Olympic and World Championship representatives for their country. Certainly the case with the likes of Chuang, the next man in the gate, Tang for China. And Roman Orlovsky able to come through to the finish, 30th position. Let's see if he can see off Tang, the final racer, and confirm himself a top 30. As nice as it would be to have everybody making the second run finish line in the top 30. It could still be the case, I suppose, if Shi Yang Tang skis out. He is on his way. .38th position for him in the first run. This to conclude the men's competition here today. The way the weather's looking, we will be back again tomorrow for a second New Zealand Cup slalom to conclude the New Zealand Cup season and also conclude the racing here from Coronet Peak, Queenstown. Tang has skied out. Oh dear. Oh no, he hasn't, sorry. Just lost track of him there. The screen paused for a moment at my end and I thought he had missed front of the gates. My apologies. So from bib 50, can he ski into the top 30 here? My apologies. It was a DNF. It was a DNF. So all of the second run finishers finish the race in the top 30. Confirmation of the result on screen there. Jet Seymour with that combined time of 1:28.96, using the first run lead to carry over and beat Solberg. Great ski from Thomas Lane to move up from 6th in the first run to finish the day in 3rd and get Team Global Racing on the New Zealand Cup podium. Kval, there for Norway, missed a New Zealand Cup podium by just 0.04 of a second. Meisel, 3rd from the first run, could only manage 5th overall. Kuntz did well to move up from 9th into 6th. McAdam from 8th into 7th. And this is the story of the day for me so far. Andrei Durkarov of Lithuania, just 1.3 seconds back. Started the day bib 53, 19th in the first run, and has finished up, 8th position. Fantastic. Cam Palmquist and Seigo Kato rounding out the top 10 with Gasser 11th for Austria. He'll be pretty pleased with that. And Gustav Visting from bib 30 finishes up in 12th place. For the first run, Durkarov faster than anybody by 0.41 of a second. Lucas Gasser there for Austria. Visting, Lane and Kuntz going quick as well. And there's confidence to take from that, particularly for Andrei Durkarov, who isn't a conventional slalom skier. But 44.48, his second run time, the quickest of anybody this afternoon, just turned afternoon, in fact. Buzek and Heerden and Seymour there, in fact, was within a second of Durkarov in the second run. And with his time in the first run, it was good enough to give the American the victory today. So I'm going to try and do some very quick maths now, because Solberg finishing second has picked up 80 points. That moves him up to 212 in the overall standings. Seigo Kato for 10th position. Won't have picked up enough to catch Solberg. And Meisel will have picked up a decent amount for the 5th place finish as well. And of course, Seymour with the win. Started today on 72 New Zealand Cup slalom points. He'll move to 172. So it'll be interesting to see when that result comes in. I think it will be Solberg leading the slalom standings heading into tomorrow's late race. Could also factor Kval into that as well. He'll have got 50 points for the 4th place finish. So that moves into 140. I think it's 22 points for 10th position. So that will have Kato at 167. Which might have him in 3rd in the overall standings here for slalom. Solberg, Seymour, Kato is what I think, and Meisel with the 45 he picked up will be 4th, probably just behind Seymour. Some very quick and probably inaccurate maths for you there, just trying to work that out as we go. So the women's race coming very shortly. We'll get that start list up for you in a moment. And there it is, in fact. Perfect timing. So 22 races have made the second run here. Oh. The first of those for New Zealand will be the 15-year-old from Queenstown, Jessica McCaw. We've got it back now. Paloma McKenzie, also of New Zealand. Then Lara Kelly started the race last. Managed to ski into 20th position this morning. Then Pa, another one of the New Zealanders. We've also got Luvagi of Belgium, Lee of Taipei, Sarchit will be one of the earlier starters for Team USA. Then we've got 4 New Zealanders in a row: Pratt, Wiggins, Watterson and Fullerton. Then it will be Mirabel Rackwell. That takes us to the top 10 from the first run. And that will be visible on our next screen when we get to the second page. So as I say, only 22 started in this second run, so no need to go beyond the 30 like we did with the men's race, as we had 53 starters in the first run of the men's, and there they are. Top 10 will go in reverse order, of course, in the second run, as they do. Vicky Palla, 10th position from the first run, looking to carry GB higher up the table. Japan with 3 in the top 9 after the first run. Wakatsuki and Watanabe will be the first 2 to go. Sophia Waldau sits 7th from the first run for Austria. Mahon, 6th for Australia. Then into the top 5, Romy Ertl skied respectably well this morning and will look to climb towards that podium. Chisaki Maeda performed superbly, coming from bib 14 into 4th. If you weren't with us this morning, that was a great ski from the 27-year-old Japanese athlete. And then the podium from the first run, Phoebe Hearden of Australia looking for another great result to really seize that advantage at the top of the overall New Zealand Cup standings and the slalom, where her and Sophie Mahon are currently tied at the lead of the New Zealand Cup standings. Nina O'Brien sits 2nd. She's just 60 points adrift of Hearden and Mahon, the 2 Australians in the current New Zealand Cup slalom standings, and Katie Hensian with a first run lead. She was just over half a second faster than her compatriot Nina O'Brien and will be last to ski this afternoon. So we're looking for a very exciting second run. Second run set by Morten Breivik. Getting the message there that forerunners are on course. Forerunners once again are the established World Cup athletes AJ Hurt and Elizabeth Bulcock. And then we'll give an opportunity to one of the younger New Zealanders in Olivia Mahoney. So this is her ripping through the turns. Has hit the World Cup slalom and giant slalom podium in her career. She's certainly one of the likeable members of the Women's World Cup Tour. Always has time, very generous. Very excitable as well, 25-year-old. Her teammate Elizabeth Bulcock will be our next foreigner. Elizabeth Bulcock, at just 20 years old, has got an exceptional career ahead of her. Looking like one of the future stars of the Stiefel US ski team. And here she comes into view. And well into this course now, Elizabeth Bulcock. Her older sister Mary, also on the US team, they've both hit the World Cup points for the first time last season, the 2024-25 campaign. And the second forerunner, Elizabeth Bulcock, home and dry. So that will leave just one forerunner, and that is the New Zealander Olivia Mahoney. There's Mahoney coming well into view now. And onto the final camera. Done very well to navigate this course. So that is all three of our forerunners home and dry. And we should be underway very shortly with Jessica McCall. I am your second run race commentator, Matt Garker, from the Women's New Zealand Cup Slalom here in Coronet Peak, Queenstown, New Zealand. It has been my pleasure to have your company throughout this Monday morning and now into the afternoon. Thoroughly looking forward to the way this one finishes up. 22 women to conclude the first day of New Zealand Cup Slalom action. Jessica McCall is on her way. And maybe that top camera just undergone a little bit of a problem. The women racing on skiers left, different to the course where the men just came down, of course. McCall, who is one of the home heroes here in Queenstown, just 15 years old, the 8th start of her FIS career. Of course, this registered as a Continental Cup competition, meaning that it is as valuable points-wise as the Europa Cup, North American Cup, Far East Cup, which is held over in China, Korea, and Japan. And Jessica McCaw into the finish leads the way. Next up, Lara Kelly. So we have got a bit of a problem with that second camera, as I say. So we are just going to have to focus on this bottom one for now. Our sincere apologies with the problem that we've encountered. Of course, it's been in operation for a little bit of time now as Lara Kelly gets on her way. McCaw in the finish. Confirmation as Paloma McKenzie, a DNF. Apologies about that one. So Kelly, who was 2.5 seconds faster than McCaw, current leader in the first run. 16-year-old Australian looking for a first ever FIS slalom result here. 1:48.19, the combined total time that has been set out here by Jessica McCaw. Lara Kelly looking like she's going to take the lead here, and she does. Wow, by 3.81 seconds, using all of that first run advantage and adding to it in run 2. Excellent stuff from her. Next up, Zoe Parr, 18-year-old, the New Zealander, 9th in the National Championship Slalom on this very Pro-Am course last week. 1:44.38. The new target time just set by Lara Kelly. This is Zoe Parr coming into the finish, coming into the lead, 1.64 seconds faster than the previous Australian leader. Our attention now turns to Belgium and Louise Louvargi. 18-year-old has had a long road to recovery, which has now been completed here in New Zealand, having joined the ladies' international team ahead of the 2025-26 campaign, which for a lot of athletes gets underway here in New Zealand. 1:42.74, the new time to beat Zoe Parr's time that she's just put down, and Louvargi into second, 0.43 of a second off the pace. So Parr has seen off one challenger at the top of the table. Now on course, Wen Yi Li for Taiwan. She was just short of 0.8 of a second quicker than Zoe Parr in leg 1. Li finished the first run in 17th position. 22-year-old. Started 4 World Championship races and 1 at the Olympic Games in 2022 in Beijing. Wen Yi Li is in the finish and in the lead. 0.3 of a second ahead of Zoe Parr, and we've already lost Josie Sarchit, the American, towards the top of the course. So now we move on to Chloe Pratt. She was 15th fastest this morning, already into the top 15 in this second run. She was nearly a second and a half faster than our new leader, Wee. Chloe Pratt, 16-year-old from Team Hut. Second run DNF last Monday in the National Championships. And on Saturday, in the last New Zealand Cup Giant Slalom held on the hurdle, Pratt comes into view now, zipping through those turns. There's a certain energy about Chloe Pratt skiing. It's demonstrated in the first run to come into 15th position. It's being demonstrated here. Chloe Pratt has got the lead. Goodness me, by over 3 seconds. I thought she looked fast, and boy, was she fast. Bib number 11 and 14 from the first run, Charlotte Wiggins, has unfortunately already skied out. So next up is Isabella Watterson, 13th this morning. She's the new national champion. Was the best of the New Zealanders in last week's NC Slalom event. So Watterson here, just short of a second faster than Pratt, our current leader. The time that she's put down here, 1:39.31. Isabel Watterson started bib 28, skied into 13th position in the first run with an excellent performance out of Wanaka, as a lot of the top New Zealanders are. Here she comes now, fast and hard into the finish. Isabel Watterson into the top position, 1.7 seconds faster than Chloe Pratt. Now Ruby Fullerton. She was 12th fastest this morning, the 19-year-old. Did not finish the second run of last week's National Championship Slalom. The last time a lot of these racers raced slalom. It's not been any races in slalom in New Zealand since. 1:37.54. The new time to beat Fullerton, just a 10th faster than Watterson this morning, and she's 1600th slower than her overall. 1:37.7, only good enough a second. It's already been a DNF for Mirabel Rakwal. So now we move to 10th position from the first run, the top 10, starting with Victoria Pala of Great Britain. She was 4 seconds faster than Isabel Watterson in the first run. Carries over a huge advantage. Vicky Pala has scored some big Europa Cup points in the last couple of seasons. Not yet made the World Cup top 30 in her 8 starts in the competition so far, but did finish 23rd in February's World Championship Slalom from Saalbach. Here she comes into view. We could be looking at a big lead for Britain here. With 10 to ski, Victoria Pala is in front by 8.77 seconds. Don't read into that too much, because the lead she had over the current leader, Watterson, was astonishing from the first run. And that gives Arata Wakatsuki a serious job, because she was only 600ths faster than Pala from the first run. That's the lead carried over. Wakatsuki, the 25-year-old, was 5th in her last race, which was a week ago, in the National Championship Slalom. 1:28.77, the new pace set by Pala and Great Britain. Wakatsuki is not good enough for top position. In fact, Wakatsuki, we just missed it on the camera there, but she did not finish. So now let's come to our next racer. Our next racer is Erin Watanabe, 0.37 of a second faster than Pala, who's already seen off one challenger at the top of things here. Watanabe, 22-year-old, also out of Tokai University, where so many of Japan's best ski racers come from. She's missed top position. She's second, 0.43 off the pace. Maybe Pala's run is one to be looking at, and one that is difficult to take here. Sophia Waldorf of Austria has started like she means to go on. 0.39 of a second over Pala, carried over for the 24-year-old. Waldorf out of the ski club of Hochpustertal. 1:28.77, the time we're looking at here. Vicky Pala, the current leader. Sophia Waldorf, the new leader, by 0.64. Austria lead the way. Taking the lead from Great Britain. Sophie Mahon is next. She's got a position at the top of the New Zealand Cup Slalom standings to hang on to. Currently tied on 260 points with Phoebe Hearden. She needs a good run here. Ideally, she needs to take the lead from Waldorf and put Australia top of it ahead of Austria. The 24-year-old was 4th last week in the National Championship Slalom. Sophie Mahon goes provisional 4th. So if Heerden finds the finish, it's almost certain that she will lead the way heading into the final New Zealand Cup Slalom of the season. Oh no, we've lost Romy Ertl. That's a 4th consecutive DNF for the 18-year-old German. And with our second camera currently out, unfortunately, it means that we are heading into the top 4 now, because next on their way will be another Japanese athlete in Chizaki Maeda. Starting to hot up into the final 4, well into it. We've got one of them cameras higher up working, and I can confirm that Maeda is skied out. We are down to the final 3 in Coronet Peak. They are Phoebe Heerden, Nina O'Brien and Katie Hensian, separated by just 3/4 of a second this morning. Heerden over Waldorf, however, will have an advantage of 1.25 seconds carried over. We'll just have a moment. 2 DNFs in a row now. Ertl went first, and now Maeda. Waldorf leads Pala and Watanabe. The provisional top 3 separated by over a second themselves. Heerden on her way. If she comes through to the finish here, she will take the lead as the New Zealand Cup Slalom standings leader for 2025. 1.25 seconds faster than our current leader, Sophia Waldorf, this morning as we head to the final 3. Mahon. Heerden is a 19-year-old racer from Thredbo, Australia, where she had big success, got a couple of wins on her home snow in her backyard. 1:28.13. The time she is chasing here of Sophia Waldorf, the leading time of the Austrian. Heerden home in first, 0.78 faster than Waldorf. That second run lead was dissipating. Now Nina O'Brien, as we head to the established Americans on the World Cup circuit. O'Brien has hit the World Cup Slalom top 10 in her career, 1900ths quicker than Heerden in the first run. The 27-year-old is a world champion in the team event from 2023. In that team with Katie Hensian, who leads the first run. She's in the start gate. O'Brien in towards the finish now. 1:27.35. Nina O'Brien misses it. No, she doesn't. 0.45 the lead. USA top of the table with 1 to ski as they look to do the 1-2 in Queenstown. O'Brien and Hensian, who tied for the win in Mount Hutt last month in one of the earlier New Zealand Cup competitions. And O'Brien here closing the gap on Heerden at the top of the table for the season. 0.56 Hensian's lead over her teammate. Is that enough to deny the 27-year-old American and give the 25-year-old the win? She was second in the US Nationals in April to AJ Hurt, one of our forerunners today. Katie Hensian, World Cup Slalom personal best, was scored in January with a 12th place finish on the famous Kranjskogora Podkoren. She also scored her first World Cup Slalom points this year, 1:26.9. Katie Hensian's time to beat. Can she deny O'Brien the win? Yes, she can. In style by 1.3 seconds. Hensian has the victory. USA do have the 1-2 and do get the better of Australia in New Zealand. The Queen of Slalom is Katie Hensian in Queenstown. Hensian, O'Brien and Heerden completing the podium, 1.75 seconds between them in the end. That increased from 0.75 of a second in the first run. Waldorf skied well in the second to climb up to 4th. Pala came from 10th to 5th in run 2. Watanabe was there. Mahon too. Best of the New Zealanders, Isabel Watterson in 8th position ahead of Fullerton and Pratt, her compatriots, to complete the top 10. Then Lee of Chinese Taipei, Pa in 12th for New Zealand. Huge margins beginning to open up. Just shows you the strength and the class of Hensian and O'Brien and Hayden as well. Onto the second page, Luvagi, Kelly and McCaw completing those that finished and completing the top 15. The DNFs for Mackenzie, Sachi, Rakval, Maeda and Wakatsuki, both of Japan. Disappointing for them. Neither of them able to find the finish. Then Wiggins and also Ertl. 4 DNFs in a row for her this week since the win in the national championships last Monday. All here in Coronet Peak. But the day belongs to the USA on the night of the US Open. Jet Seymour wins the men's. Katie Hensian the women's. Because the Star Spangled Banner is at the top of the table. Thank you very much for your company this morning and into the afternoon. It has been my pleasure to cover these races once again, and hopefully, fingers crossed, weather permitted, all being well, we'll be back again for New Zealand Cup Slalom number 2 tomorrow. Same time, same place, you'll be sure of it. I've been Matt Garker. It has been my privilege to have your company on this Monday. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope we will see you again very soon. So thank you very much. Go check out the Skiing is Believing podcast. That's my final word, and we will ski you later.